She was lying face down on the kitchen floor when they found her. Blood pooled around her head, soaking into the pale yellow linoleum she'd picked out just 6 months earlier because it reminded her of sunshine. The front door was wide open. Rain hammered against the porch outside, and on the small wooden table near her body, folded neatly beside a half-empty cup of chamomile tea, was a handwritten note. 4 words. I set things right. The name signed at the bottom belonged to a man who wasn't supposed to be free, a man locked behind bars 200 miles away. Marcus Rayfield, escaped inmate, armed and dangerous. And the woman he killed, she was his wife. But the secret she'd been carrying, the one she'd hidden for years, was the very thing that got her killed. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Marcus Rayfield was 38 years old when he met the woman who would change his life. By then, he'd already spent 6 years inside Greystone Correctional Facility, a medium-security prison just outside Fresno, California. He was serving 12 years for armed robbery. Inside those walls, Marcus was invisible. Average height, dark eyes, a smile that could flip from warm to cold in a heartbeat. Other inmates liked him because he kept his mouth shut. Guards didn't trust him because they could tell he was always thinking, always watching. Marcus didn't have family that visited. His mom was in a nursing home with dementia, and his 2 brothers wanted nothing to do with him. For 6 years, he existed in a gray fog of routine. Wake up, eat, work in the laundry room, sleep, repeat. No one wrote him letters. No one sent him money. No one cared if he lived or died. Until Tanya. Tanya Rivers was 34 years old when she signed up to be a pen pal volunteer through a Christian outreach program. She worked part-time at a library in Bakersfield and lived alone in a small rental house. She was quiet, soft-spoken, the kind of person who noticed when someone needed help. She had long brown hair and dressed simply in jeans and oversized sweaters. People who knew her said she had a sadness in her eyes, the kind you can't fake. When she first wrote to Marcus, it was just a polite introduction. She told him about her work at the library, about the books she loved, about how she believed everyone deserved kindness. Marcus almost didn't write back, but something about her letter made him curious. So he did, and Tanya replied the next week, and the week after that. Before long, they were writing each other every single day. Their letters became the highlight of Marcus's existence. Tanya told him about her childhood in Oregon, about how her parents died in a car accident when she was 19, about the smell of old books and the sound of rain on the library roof. She made the outside world feel real again. Marcus told her things he'd never told anyone, about his father leaving, about his first arrest at 15, about how scared he was the first night in prison. He told her he was tired of being angry, tired of being alone. He told her he wanted to be better, and Tanya believed him. After 8 months of letters, Tanya visited him for the first time. Marcus was so nervous he could barely sit still. When she walked into the visitation room, he stood up without thinking. She was smaller than he imagined. Prettier, too. She smiled at him, shy and uncertain. They talked for 2 hours. When the guard called time, Marcus didn't want to leave. "Will you come back?" he asked. Tanya nodded. "Of course I will." She came back the next month, and the month after that. For 3 years, Tanya visited Marcus every chance she got. She sent him money. She sent him books. She wrote him every single day. Other inmates started to notice. Some teased him. A few said she wasn't real. Marcus ignored them. Tanya made him feel human again. She made him feel like he mattered. And somewhere along the way, Marcus fell in love with her. On their 4th anniversary of writing to each other, Marcus asked Tanya to marry him during one of her visits. He didn't have a ring. He didn't have anything except the words. Tanya cried. She said yes. 6 months later, they got married in the prison chapel. Just the 2 of them, the chaplain, and a guard standing by the door. Tanya wore a simple white dress from a thrift store. Marcus wore his prison blues. They held hands and said their vows. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was real, and for Marcus, it was everything. But what Marcus didn't know, what no one except Tanya knew, was that she was carrying a secret so heavy it kept her awake at night. Tanya Rivers wasn't the name she was born with. That name was Thomas Andrew Rivers. Tanya was transgender. She'd known since childhood that the body she was born into didn't match who she was inside. But growing up in a small conservative town in Oregon, there was no space for that truth. When Thomas was 16, he tried to tell his parents. His father threw him out, called him words that still echoed in Tanya's head years later. His mother stood in the doorway and cried but didn't stop it. Thomas lived in his car for 3 months until he graduated high school. Then he left Oregon and never looked back. He moved to Seattle, changed his name, started hormone therapy. Slowly, painfully, Thomas became Tanya. She lost friends. She lost jobs. She was harassed and attacked more than once. But she survived. She moved to Bakersfield because it was quiet and cheap and far from anyone who knew her past. When Tanya started writing to Marcus, she never planned to fall in love. She just wanted to help someone. But Marcus was different. He was broken in ways she understood. And the more they wrote, the more she felt like maybe she could be loved for who she was. But Tanya never told Marcus the truth. At first, it was because she didn't think it mattered. But then it became more, and by the time she realized she loved him, it felt too late. She was terrified he'd hate her, terrified he'd feel tricked. So she stayed silent. Tanya kept a journal. One entry, dated 3 months before she died, read, "He says he loves me, but if he ever learns who I was, I don't know what he'll do. I can't keep lying. I just need to find the right time." The right time never came, because before Tanya could say anything, the truth found Marcus first. It happened during a routine background check. Once a year, the prison updated records for all visitors. When the administrative assistant ran Tanya's information, something flagged. Her legal name was still listed as Thomas Rivers, gender marker, male. The assistant flagged it thinking it was an error, but when the corrections officer saw it, he didn't think it was an error. He thought it was gossip, and gossip in a prison spreads like wildfire. Within 24 hours, half the guards knew. Within 48 hours, half the inmates knew. It was during lunch when Marcus found out. An inmate named Daryl sat down across from him and grinned. "Yo, Marcus, heard some crazy stuff about your wife, man." Marcus looked up. "What are you talking about?" Daryl laughed. "They saying your wife ain't even a woman. They saying she used to be a dude." Marcus stared at him. "Get out of my face." Daryl shrugged. "Hey, don't shoot the messenger. Guard told me. Said it's in the system. Your girl Tanya? Used to be Thomas." Marcus walked away, but inside his head was spinning. That night, Marcus called Tanya. His hands were shaking. When she answered, her voice was warm. "Hey, baby, how was your day?" Marcus didn't answer right away. "Tanya, I need to ask you something." Her voice changed. "Okay. Are you keeping something from me?" Silence. Long, heavy silence. "Marcus, what are you talking about?" "Is it true, what they're saying, that you used to be a man?" Another pause, and then quietly, "What are they saying? Answer me." When she finally spoke, her voice was trembling. "Marcus, please, let me explain." That was all the confirmation he needed. Marcus hung up. He didn't call back. He didn't read her letters. He didn't take her visits. For 2 weeks he shut her out. And in that silence, his love curdled into rage. The other inmates wouldn't let it go. Every day someone had something to say. Some laughed, some pitied him. And Marcus, who'd spent years keeping his head down, finally snapped. It happened in the yard. A guard made a comment about Marcus's boyfriend sending another letter. Marcus tackled him and started swinging. It took 4 guards to pull him off. Marcus was dragged to solitary confinement. 30 days, no light, no contact, just him and his thoughts. And in that darkness, something inside Marcus broke. He wasn't angry anymore. He was cold, calculated. He had a plan. Marcus Rayfield escaped from Greystone Correctional on a Thursday night in late September. It was raining hard. The escape wasn't spontaneous. Marcus had been planning it for weeks. He got a copy of a maintenance key, stole a guard's uniform from the laundry, and convinced a contact to leave a car 2 miles from the prison. The night of the escape, Marcus waited until the guards changed shifts. He slipped out dressed in the stolen uniform and walked calmly through 2 checkpoints. No one questioned him. By the time the alarms went off, Marcus was already gone. He drove for 3 days, staying off the grid. He slept in the car. He ate gas station snacks. He avoided highways and stuck to back roads. The whole time, all he could think about was Tanya, about how she lied, about how she made him look like a fool, about how everyone laughed at him because of her. By the time Marcus pulled up outside Tanya's house, it was almost midnight. The street was quiet. Marcus sat in the car for a long time, staring at that little yellow house. Finally, he got out and knocked on the door. Tanya was in her pajamas when she heard the knock. She wasn't expecting anyone. When she looked through the peephole and saw Marcus standing there, soaking wet, eyes wild, her blood went cold. She knew he'd escaped. She'd seen it on the news. She knew he might come for her. Tanya's hand shook as she unlocked the door. She opened it just a crack. "Marcus." Marcus didn't say anything. He just pushed the door open and walked inside. Tanya backed up, heart pounding. "Marcus, please, let me explain." Marcus looked around the small living room. At the couch, they'd talked about buying together. At the photos on the wall. "Explain what?" "Explain how you lied to me?" "I do exist," Tanya said, tears streaming down her face. "I'm still me. I'm still the person who wrote you those letters." "No, you're not. The person I loved wouldn't have lied." Tanya took a step forward. "Marcus, I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought you'd hate me. I do hate you." The words hit like a punch. Tanya's face crumpled. "Please. I love you so much." Marcus laughed bitterly. "You don't love me. You just wanted someone who didn't know the truth." "That's not true. I married you because I love you." "Then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you give me a choice?" Tanya shouted back. "Because I was afraid of losing you. I just wanted to be loved for who I am." "Who you are? Who are you, Tanya? Or should I call you Thomas?" Tanya flinched. "Don't. Please don't." "Why? That's your real name, isn't it?" "No, that's who I was, not who I am." Marcus stared at her. For a moment something in his eyes softened, but then he thought about the prison, about the taunts, about the humiliation. "You ruined me," Marcus said quietly. "You destroyed me." "I do care," Tanya said, reaching for him. "We can fix this." Marcus grabbed her wrist. "There's no starting over, not after this." "Marcus, you're scaring me." "Good. You should be scared." His grip tightened. "You should know what it feels like to have someone take everything from you." Tanya tried to pull away. "Marcus, stop. You're hurting me." "You hurt me first." And then something in Marcus snapped. His hands moved to her throat. Tanya tried to scream, but no sound came out. She clawed at his hands, kicked, thrashed, but Marcus was stronger. The room spun, her vision blurred, and then everything went black. When Marcus finally let go, Tanya collapsed to the floor. Marcus stood over her, breathing hard, staring at what he'd done. He walked to the kitchen table, found a pen and paper. He wrote 4 words. "I set things right." He signed his name, placed the note next to her body, and left. The manhunt for Marcus lasted 48 hours. His face was on every news channel. Tips poured in from all over California. A farmer called saying someone was sleeping in his barn. When police surrounded the barn, Marcus didn't try to run. He just stood there with empty eyes. "Get on the ground," an officer shouted. Marcus didn't move. He smiled, sad and broken. Then he reached into his jacket. The officers fired. 3 shots. Marcus dropped. When they approached, they found him lying on his back, blood pooling beneath him. In his hand was a folded letter addressed to Tanya. It said only 3 words. "I'm sorry, Marcus." Marcus Rayfield died in that barn. Tanya Rivers was buried in a small cemetery in Bakersfield. Her funeral was attended by 12 people. Most were co-workers from the library. Her tombstone read, "Tanya Rivers, beloved friend, may you find peace." In the weeks that followed, Tanya's friends spoke out. They talked about how kind she was, how gentle, how much courage it took to live as herself. Marcus's mother gave one interview. "He wasn't a monster," she said through tears. "He was just broken, and nobody helped him." This wasn't just a story about deception. It was a story about 2 people desperate to be seen, to be loved, to matter. Tanya wanted to be accepted for who she was. Marcus wanted to feel human again. They both wanted the same thing. But between truth and fear, between love and rage, something broke. And 2 people who might have saved each other ended up destroying each other instead. So let me ask you this. If you were Tanya, would you have told the truth from the beginning, knowing it might cost you the only love you'd ever known? And if you were Marcus, could you have forgiven her? Could you have looked past the lie? Or would you have done exactly what Marcus did? These aren't easy questions. There are no right answers. In the end, Tanya just wanted to be loved for who she was, and Marcus just wanted to be respected. But somewhere between those 2 needs, everything fell apart. Not because of fate, but because we live in a world where people are still afraid to tell the truth. What do you think? Was this deception or desperation? Could this have been avoided? How would you feel if someone you loved kept a secret like this? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If this moved you, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another story. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about.